What is up, everybody? This is Anthony with the VR Game Rankings YouTube channel, and of course, this is the daily vlog series. This is episode 99, and today is Thursday, February 15th, and we do have a number of stories on the docket today, and so let's go ahead and just jump right into things. The first story that I have for you guys is Viveport is going to be increasing its subscription price very, very soon. Yes, obviously HTC has had this Viveport subscription that has been available. I believe this came out sometime last year, maybe spring of 2017 is when it first began, and you could sign up for the Viveport service for $6.99 a month, and what it did was it gave you access to a huge catalog of different apps and different games that you could play on the Viveport service. Basically, you could choose 5 different games or apps at a time that you would be able to enjoy with your service each month for the price of $6.99. Now, that price is going to rise $2 on March 22nd. It is going to jump up to $8.99 a month. So it is a slight bump up in price. Now, obviously that bump is very mild, but when you do get into this kind of realm of this Netflix realm, every dollar that you move up a subscription price, some people start to wonder, should I still keep this? Should I not still keep this? So it is bumping up. It is going to go to $9 a month for Viveport. Now, the good news is if you've already been signed up to Viveport, if you're an existing Viveport customer, your price is not going to change. And supposedly it will not change for the remainder of the entire year of 2018. Not exactly sure when. You might have to up your price at some point after that. But at least for the year 2018, you are basically grandfathered into this $6.99 price. And then the other option as well, if you are not a member of Viveport but you've been considering it, this is an opportunity to go ahead and jump on it prior to March 22nd, because if you go ahead and sign up prior to March 22nd, you will also be grandfathered in at that $6.99 price. Now, I believe the idea behind Viveport is a wonderful idea. It makes a ton of sense. I think it's a clever idea. I honestly believe there should be a service similar to this for a lot of non-game experiences. I've said that many times before, that we need to create a revenue stream for companies to be able to make these non-VR games and make really interesting stuff, but still somehow get paid. And I think kind of a Netflix program would be great for that. Viveport is more focused on gaming, and it's a great idea as well, and it's a good option. The only problem is that people that are very familiar with Viveport, there's a lot of horror stories about people installing Viveport on their various PCs and then having a lot of different issues with their PCs. So a lot of people tend to stay away from Viveport, myself included, but it is a good option that is available if you would like to try that service, and definitely try to sign up prior to March 22nd so you can get grandfathered in at that new lower price. Okay, story number 2. Cherry Pop Games, the developers of SportsBar VR, have a brand new soccer game, a brand new football game that they are going to be bringing out in the not too distant future. This game is called Virtual Reality Football Club, and to the best of my knowledge, this is the first real deal soccer/football game in VR. Now, I know we have a number of various goalie simulators where you're kind of playing the role of the goalie, and you're able to use your motion controllers as your hands as the goalie and be able to catch the ball and deflect the ball and do those kinds of things. But I don't know that we have any full-blown, actual, legitimate soccer games in VR, and this appears to be the very first one. Now, of course, the first thing that's going to come to mind is, how is this going to work? Do you have to put trackers on your feet? Are you going to take your Vive wands and duct tape them to your shoes? You know, how are you going to do this? And Cherry Pop Games has a very interesting idea that they're going to be taking advantage of with this game. Now, they call it the Agile Locomotion System. And basically, the idea here is that you're going to be playing this game of soccer, but you're not going to have controllers on your feet. You're not going to have trackers on your feet. But what they've figured out is that just with the motion of your two arms and where your head is positioned, they're going to try to kind of simulate when you would pass the ball, when you would be shooting the ball, and those sorts of things. So I think the way this is going to work, it's going to be somewhat similar to Sprint Vector, so that when you're running, you just kind of do this running motion. And then the thing is, for anybody that has ever played soccer, you kind of know that when you get ready to pass the ball, you kind of move your, you move your arms in certain ways when you pass the ball. Or if you're getting ready to shoot the ball, you kind of position your arms in certain ways. And so this is probably like almost every human typically moves their arms in certain ways when they're about to kick a ball, or they're about to shoot the ball, or pass the ball, or do those kinds of things. And so it's going to kind of analyze that and be able to determine when you're passing and when you're shooting and that sort of thing, just off your natural movement. And then the other thing is that you can kind of enhance it a little bit with button presses. So obviously we don't know exactly how this is going to really work in terms of how this control is going to work for passing and shooting and all these sorts of things. How much of it is going to be more on the button press side of things, and how much of it will this agile locomotion actually figure it out? But it's certainly a good idea. We've been very interested in having a soccer game in VR, and Cherry Pop Games is going to bring this game to VR. The other cool thing about it is I was watching the video of this game, and it appears that there is 4-on-4 action with this game. So basically, you're going to have a goalie and 3 other players on each team. So kind of 4-on-4. So maybe we might have some, there might be some multiplayer action with this game. We don't know anything about that yet. We don't have a release date for it. There has been a trailer release for this game, and the trailer does look pretty cool. And so Cherry Pop Games, I mean, obviously SportsBar VR has been one of the more highly rated games in the VR gaming industry for quite some time. So they are a talented developer. So we're definitely looking to see how Virtual Reality Football Club will fare when it comes out later this year. And in story number 3, we have the Ready Player One trailer that just released today. This is a brand new trailer that just came out today. Now we have to remember, Ready Player One is coming very soon. This movie comes out on March 29th. Today is February 15th. So we have basically 43 days until this movie. This movie is coming a lot sooner than a lot of us have probably realized. And one of the cool things about Ready Player One in general is there are a lot of VR enthusiasts around the world that are kind of pinning their hopes on this movie, maybe giving the whole VR gaming industry a bit of a second wind, and VR just in general. Like, this is going to put the whole VR thing on the map. If this movie becomes huge, if this movie really blows up, if everybody kind of resonates with this movie, if this becomes one of these kinds of movies where people go to the theater and they see it once and then they want to come back and see it again, and they want to come back and see it again, if it kind of turns into that type of thing, it could be absolutely huge for the VR gaming industry in general. Actually, for the VR industry overall in general, and AR as well. It kind of brings us a little bit more into the mainstream, and a lot of VR enthusiasts are hoping that this kind of gives the industry a second wind and a second push, and gets a lot more people interested in virtual reality. And I thought the trailer was pretty darn good. I think it looks really good. The last time I was really interested in a Steven Spielberg movie, or the last time I saw a Steven Spielberg movie that really impressed me, it was probably Artificial Intelligence, which I know a lot of people hated that movie, AI, Artificial Intelligence. I actually liked that movie. I thought that movie was pretty good. It was very dark. It was not a happy movie by any stretch of the imagination, and it went really long, and it got really, really weird at the very end of that movie, but I actually enjoyed the whole entire thing, but it was not a commercial success, I don't think. And obviously, Steven Spielberg has had a ton of movies since then, but none of them have really hit me very hard. Although I think this movie, Ready Player One, this is one that I am going to want to try to run out there and see it right away as soon as it hits theaters on March 29th. And again, only 43 days away. So we're definitely excited for that. Okay, story number 4, Brass Tactics Arena. Now, you guys know just the other day I had a show where I was basically raving about Brass Tactics Arena. I thought, this isn't my type of game, but Steve of VR Roundtable was talking about the game and really loved what he had played with the game, so I decided to jump into it, and I was completely blown away by what I played with Brass Tactics Arena. Now, the thing is, the only way that you could get your hands on Brass Tactics Arena was to pre-order the full game of Brass Tactics, and then Brass Tactics Arena was thrown in as a bonus. And Brass Tactics Arena kind of serves like a demo for this game, and starting today, it is absolutely free for everyone. You can download this for your Oculus account. You can get it on any Oculus account. You do not have to pre-order the full game of Brass Tactics, but I really believe that if you give Brass Tactics Arena a chance and you really take your time and learn how this game works, you're probably going to want to grab Brass Tactics Arena next week. It is that good of a demo. Probably this may be like the best VR demo I've ever played from a standpoint of not having any interest really in the game and then playing the demo and being like, oh my God, I am very interested in this game. That is how good this Brass Tactics Arena demo really is. So if you have an Oculus account, you absolutely owe it to yourself to go ahead and download this and try it out. I'm not sure how well it would run in Revive considering the way the controls are mapped, but you might want to give it a chance in Revive as well. That is Brass Tactics Arena, now free for everybody. Okay, next story I want to go into is I want to talk about that game In Death. Okay, so you guys remember the game In Death? Now, when this first came out, I played it right away. And when I first got into it, I had some good things to say about it. I said it's kind of like comfort food and it's kind of a guilty pleasure, but I also had a lot of horrible things to say about it where I said that the enemies are basically waiting around in rooms for you to show up, and then they finally see you and they turn around and it's like a director just yelled action, and it's like they're actors, waiting for the director to say action, and then they start going. And all those criticisms are true, but I have to say, you know what? So many people talk about this game In Death that they've had a completely different opinion on the game than I did originally. And I wasn't sure, is this like guerrilla marketing tactics for people on Reddit? Because sometimes that does happen. Sometimes you can't trust everything you hear on Reddit because somebody can pretend that they're just a regular gamer, but they're really like connected to the developer or something, and it's this guerrilla marketing. But no, it seems truly legit that a lot of people really, really like In Death. So I decided to revisit the game, and you know what? I kind of understand what everybody else is seeing out there. This game just has a good fun factor. This game is just fun to play. Now, everything that I said that was bad about it before, all of that still exists. A lot of the environments, they repeat over and over again. And one of the criticisms that I had is that you walk down one medieval castle hallway and, once you've seen one of them, you've seen all of them. And so they're arranged in different ways. It looks a little bit different this way or that way, but for the most part, it's pretty much the same deal. And so that repeats over and over again. The enemies kind of repeat over and over again. I said that the enemies are all clones of each other. They have the exact same animations. They make the exact same noises. There's not that many different enemy types. So I had a lot of negative stuff to say about it, but I also did say that it is like this comfort food. There is something good about it. And I've been playing this more and more recently. And you know what? It really is actually a pretty damn good game, despite all of its issues, despite all of its problems. It's just fun going through the game. Just the act of killing these different enemies and trying to survive as long as you can. It's fun. It's enjoyable. So I pretty much have changed my mind on In Death. I believe this game is only $19.99, right? I think this is actually a solid game, and I would actually recommend this with the understanding that there is a bit of this jankiness, there is a bit of this repeating thing that's going on. But if you're looking for fun factor, if you're looking for just pure gameplay, the actual bow mechanics of shooting your bow and using your shield to block, all of that is done very well. There's lots of different power-ups, and this is this roguelike type gameplay where when you get in there, the idea is you're trying to survive as long as you can. And so every time you go into the game, the levels are kind of randomly generated and you're basically trying to survive. And I have seen some additional enemies. I've seen some other levels where it looks completely different. And so I have to say that I was a little bit off base with In Death, and my apologies to So Far Studios, because I think this game is a hell of a lot better than I originally thought it was. And it's a good thing that everybody was raving about it, because it caused me to go back in there, check it out again, and see that, you know what, this is a pretty damn good game. So this is kind of the second time I'm eating crow with making a snap judgment about a game that wasn't entirely fair. I did this with The Impatient, I did it with In Death, and now I'm seeing that In Death is actually a damn good game. So I recommend it for anybody out there that is into bow shooting type games, and if you can deal with a little bit of jank. Tons of playability here, really good fun factor, and it does have that comfort food, that guilty pleasure type of gameplay that is hard to describe, but it's definitely enjoyable when you're in there playing the game. Alrighty, folks, that's going to go ahead and wrap it up for episode 99 of the show. I know this is a little bit shorter of a show today, but I got some appointments that I got to get to, so I got to hurry up and wrap up this show and move on. And so tomorrow is episode 100. I don't have any special plans for episode 100, just a normal, regular show, because the thing that we have to remember here is this is a daily show. So reaching 100 is usually a really big deal for a lot of podcasts and, you know, a lot of different things out there. But this is a daily show. Reaching 100 is not a big deal. We have shows Monday through Friday, and so this is just another show. So the show tomorrow, as far as I'm concerned, is just another show. I don't have any real special plans. Hopefully we'll have some good news and some good discussion on tomorrow's show. But I'll see everybody tomorrow. So that'll go ahead and do it. Take it easy. Later.